News Talk 820 WBAP, Ernie and Monty, carrying through the morning. Now, we have a story that caught my eye the other day, and I've wondered this for a long time, if this is having an effect on kids. Social media, they get on, they have to compare themselves to others, and the internet, of course, has allowed kids to talk with kids around the world, and so there are some benefits to it, but the downsides are getting bigger and bigger. Teresa Lusk joins us, and the big question we had from this, she's a life coach, and I've been wondering, why are young girls dealing with what this story says, higher levels of depression and more suicide attempts?
Ernie, it's happening because social media and the influence of social media has not been controlled in the sense that it needs to, in the way that it needs to. There are a lot of freedoms that our young girls have access to through social media. And so it's important right now that parents become more aware of what are their children accessing. Now, this is not just for girls, but scientific research shows that girls are more affected by it. And so social media has a lot to do with it. Also, we do have to remember that our children are not the children of social media. They're the children of the parents. So parental involvement is very important, that we're the gatekeepers. So it is important for us to pay attention to what is going on with my daughter. You know, Ernie, the pressure is really high with girls right now. Even myself as a female, when I get on social media and I'm looking through in the evening while I'm relaxing and I look at some of these videos, and some of them are entertaining, they're great, but some of them really do put another level of pressure on a female to reach yet another level of looking a certain way, feeling a certain way, being accepted by a certain number of individuals and likes and things of that nature.
Teresa, what do you say to a parent who says, well, but, these are kids, they're resilient, they can handle it?
We used to be able to say that, but we're in different times now. I don't think that anybody can really target why are our children not as resilient as the kids before. It's not necessarily true that the children are resilient today. As you see the suicide numbers, that reflects a lot on how that's not the truth. Children these days, young kids, teenagers, they keep a lot of things to themselves. They don't, unfortunately, the technology has been the dividing between what divides the connection and maybe even a trust level, because the connection's not there with parents that used to be able to be, because parents have just given in. They've said, well, this is their age, this is what they're doing, this is what they do, it's okay. So there's a disconnect that happens. And then that communication that used to be there that you could form with parents is not as strong. So you don't know how resilient your child is. And to be honest, even when a person is resilient, at some point, even a resilient individual, when you keep hitting the same thing or being hit by the same thing, that resiliency begins to break down.
Wonder if parents really recognize when they hand their kid a smartphone or access, if they recognize what they're actually giving their kids.
I don't think so. I heard the Surgeon General, the U.S. Surgeon General, say that he believes that 13 years old is still too young to hand a phone over. And I started to think about that and the age, and we don't know what we're handing to our children. I think we feel like, because the kids today, they're very smart kids. And I'll say this as well. There are parents who have actually worked really hard at being the gatekeepers, but kids are so smart that they know how to jump over that gate. And so we do have to keep that in mind, that there are some parents who've been absolutely proactive. They've done everything they know to do, and the child still knows how to break that down.
Yeah, that's one of the disadvantages we have now as the adults. The kids seem to have computers and online in their DNA, and we as adults, we struggle to make it work.
That's exactly it, and it's very, very true. I have 3 children of different ages, and trust me, you do everything you know how to do, and somehow they still know how to get past that. So, I say that because I think there are a lot of parents who have absolutely been proactive in doing their part, but then we don't often, I think we have too much trust in our children. When kids are well behaved, I've learned this in dealing with parents and teenagers. When you have good kids, it's easy to think my child would never. But it's not that your child would never. It's that social media, it's that technology, the internet. It introduces every bit of unhealthy things to your child. So even a good child will respond to those things that are being thrown at them and being stimulated with. And, you know, there's a lot of social media is being blamed for a lot of eating disorders in girls as well. So you click on one thing and it gives you more, and it feeds you more, and it feeds you more. And there's the addictive side of social media.
What do you say to mom and dad? How can they help their daughters and their sons, too, to a lesser extent?
Just begin to pay attention. You must become aware. You must pay attention, be aware, ask questions, and maybe even kind of, instead of asking them questions of yes or no, ask them, like, give me an example of what are some of the things you see. Does it bother you? If you start to ask the person, what does it help you form in your mind? What kind of ideas do you form after seeing this image, that image? It begins to open up the door to how does your child think, and are they being affected by that?
This is Teresa Lusk, a life coach, and something I think everybody needs at one point in their life. Teresa, it's been terrific. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much.